Um, Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. You guys already know what to do. I'm gonna give you a minute to do so because it ain't nothing new, ain't nothing changed. It's the same thing every day. Like, come on, y'all already know what it is, what it ain't, what it will be. Like, y'all already know. Okay, let's get into today's episode. So today we're gonna be discussing how I first got into, high school. I started high school remote during the COVID year, unfortunately. Um and it was very interesting. I definitely can recall my remote year because there were so many days where I was like, oh, y'all don't even know, like I was really tired. Like I was really tired and I remember my mom would make me stand up so that I wouldn't fall asleep the during the during like the when they were teaching us during remote, and it was kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie, but I definitely got my work done for the most of it. Definitely would say that. um but I mean, could you blame me? Like I was tired. Like it was tiring. Like I had to spend like almost 8 hours on the computer. We had lunchtime. I remember during my finals of freshman year, I failed math, and let me explain why. So when we took our finals, because it's a final exam, and since basically the whole day is finals, we had a huger break than usual. So basically, once you finished your exam, you have to wait till the next class, and wait till the next class period to take your exam. And so there was only because there were only like three main exams that we had to take, instead of it being for every freaking class, like final exams. um the final exams weren't that hard as well. For some of them, well, for PE mainly, but all the other classes were hard. But for some of the exams, there, they were tough. But because there weren't that many exams that we had to take for the final exams, our schedule was breaked out widely, like really wide. So basically, what happened was I overslept during one of the breaks after I finished one of my previous exams. And then when I woke up and I saw the time, and my mom was asleep too, and I saw the time, I was like, oh my God. I started freaking out. I checked my email, and I got an email from my algebra teacher. And she was like, you missed the exam, so you have to retake it. And I was like, whew. I retook it, and of course, I got an A for the final. And oh man, I will never forget that moment. Like, it wasn't my fault because, like I said, the schedule was broken out. So it definitely caught me by surprise. I remember for PE, they were like, we had to stand up and jump, and our cameras had to be on. But I was just pretending like my camera was on for some of them, but for a lot of them, obviously they weren't on. But the point is, the moral of the story, like if we get down to it, you know what I mean? Like, it was tiring. Like it's just, I was just really tired. I'm not gonna lie. I was really, really like, really, really, really like, really, really, really like. it was definitely a lot to deal with. But remote was actually pretty fun. Um, it was pretty fun, I would say. Uh, of course, there were some times where it was getting aggravating and getting on my nerves, but there were also some times where it was fun as well. I could definitely say that I enjoyed remote definitely more than when we had to go in person. But towards like May and May and like June, they were like letting people come in person. But there, of course, there were all these safety precautions and stuff like this. But it was fun. I was prepared for my sophomore year. I was ready, ready to start another year. And it was. I definitely said I'm definitely not gonna lie. I missed remote. Like I remember I was like, we need to do remote sophomore year too. And of course they didn't. But you know, I definitely do miss remote. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like remote was the best. Always has been, always will be, at least in my mind. So yeah. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. You guys already know what to do. I shouldn't even have to tell you. But thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah. Bye bye, guys.